Let the word go forth.
The Golden Girl, a tribute to Betty White. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I am thrilled to talk to you about the incredible life of Betty White, one of America's most beloved entertainers. From her early days as a young girl growing up in Illinois to her iconic roles on television, Betty White's life is a true Hollywood success story. Betty White was born on January 17, 1922, in Oak Park, Illinois. Today is her birthday. She was the only child of Christine, I cannot pronounce her last name, so I'm going to try this. She was the only child of Christine Tess Katchikis and Horace White. Betty's father was an electrical engineer, and her mother was a homemaker. When Betty was just 2 years old, her family moved to LA. Growing up in LA, Betty developed a passion for the outdoors and animals. She spent much of her childhood exploring the nearby woods and caring for stray animals. Her parents encouraged her love of nature and supported her early interests. She attended Beverly Hills High School, where she developed a passion for writing and performing. Betty was an active member of the school's drama club and wrote several plays and poems. After graduating from high school in 1939, Betty attended UCLA, where she studied English and theater. During her time at UCLA, Betty began to develop her skills as a performer. She appeared in several school plays and began to make connections in the entertainment industry. However, with the onset of World War II, Betty's education was put on hold. During World War II, Betty joined the AWVS, which is the American Women's Voluntary Services. She drove a PX truck delivering supplies to troops and helping with other wartime efforts. Betty's experience during the war had a profound impact on her life and shaped her values and priorities. After the war, Betty began to pursue a career in entertainment. She started by working in radio, appearing on several local stations in LA. In 1949, Betty began working on the local television station KLAC-TV. She appeared on several shows, including Al Jarvis's Hollywood on Television. Betty's big break came in 1949, where she began co-hosting Al Jarvis's Hollywood on Television with Al Jarvis. When Jarvis left the show in 1952, Betty became the sole host, renaming the show Life with Elizabeth. Now, as we left off, Betty White had just begun her career in television, hosting Life with Elizabeth on KLAC-TV. But before that, Betty had already started making a name for herself in the entertainment industry. In this next part of our talk, we'll explore Betty's early acting career from her first job to her marriage. Betty's first acting job was in 1939, when she appeared in a play at the Bliss Hayden Little Theater in Beverly Hills. She was just 17 years old at the time. After that, Betty began to land small roles on local television stations and in film. In 1945, Betty appeared in the short film Time to Kill, and in 1947, she had a small role in the film Hold That Lion. These early roles helped Betty gain experience and build her confidence as a performer. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, Betty began to work more extensively in radio and television. From 1949 to 1953, she was on Hollywood on television. 1952 to 1954, she had The Betty White Show. In 1953, she was on The Eddie Albert Show. 1953 through 1955, she had the show Life with Elizabeth. In 1955 and 1956, she was on What's My Line. In 1956, she starred in the show The Virginia Leonard Story, The Millionaire. In 1957 and 58, in the movie Date with the Angels. In 1958, The Betty White Show, from 1958 to 1962, The Tonight Show with Jack Paar, and she had her own radio show, The Betty White Show. In the early 1960s, Betty met Alan Luton, a television host and personality. The two met on the set of the game show Password, which Alan hosted. Betty was a guest on the show, and the two quickly became close friends. Betty and Alan, they married on June 14, 1963. The marriage was a happy one, and the two remained together until his death in 1981. Betty has often spoken about the happiness and fulfillment she found with Alan, and the two were widely regarded as one of Hollywood's most beloved couples. As we discussed earlier, Betty married Alan in 1963. The marriage was a happy one, and the two remained together until his death in 1981. During their marriage, Betty continued to work in television, appearing on shows such as Password and The Carol Burnett Show. In the 1980s, Betty's career experienced a resurgence. She appeared on shows such as The Golden Girls and Empty Nest, and she began to attract a new generation of fans. Betty's performance on The Golden Girls earned her multiple Emmy Awards and cemented her status as a television legend. Throughout her life, Betty was a passionate advocate for animals. She worked with the LA Zoo and Botanical Gardens and the Morse Animal Foundation. Betty also supported various organizations, including the American Cancer Society and the Alzheimer's Association. In her later years, Betty continued to work in television, appearing on shows such as Hot in Cleveland and Saturday Night Live. She also wrote several books, including her memoir, Here We Go Again, My Life in Television. Betty White passed away on December 31st, 2021, at the age of 99. Her death was met with an outpouring of tributes and condolences from fans and fellow celebrities, as she has chosen not to be buried next to Alan. In conclusion, Betty White's life was a testament to the power of love, laughter, and legacy. From her early days in radio and television to her iconic performances on The Golden Girls and beyond, Betty left an indelible mark on the entertainment industry. Her passion for animals, charity, and her craft inspired countless fans around the world. As we remember Betty today on her birthday, we celebrate not only her remarkable life, but also the lessons she taught us: to live with kindness, to love with abandon, and to laugh often. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Betty White's life. Have a good day, guys.